What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today we're going to break down what each cable, input, and output do on the back of the RGHR51 marine receiver. Now if we take a look at the back of the receiver, you'll see we have all these different wires, inputs, and outputs that all serve a different purpose for your receiver. Starting with the red wire, this acts as the ACC or accessory wire, and this is going to connect to the ignition of the boat so that the receiver will power on as soon as the boat does. We have the yellow wire, which acts as the 12-volt wire, and this will connect to the 12-volt line of your house battery. Moving on, we have the black ground wire, which runs to the ground terminal of your house battery. And then we have the blue remote wire that we can connect to external amplifiers so that they power on as soon as the receiver does. Now, because we don't have the ignition for the accessory wire in today's demo, we're going to run the accessory wire to the 12-volt of our battery. But remember, in your case, you're going to run the red wire to the ignition of your boat or vessel. So to connect these to your battery, we're going to need some leads. So we're going to take one lead and connect it to the 12-volt line here on our harness. Then connect the other end to the 12-volt of your house battery. You're going to take another lead and connect that to the accessory wire and run that to the ignition of your boat or vessel. You're going to take another lead to connect the ground wire to the ground terminal of your house battery. And you can take another lead to connect the remote wire of your harness to the remote terminal of your external amplifier. Now, something to keep in mind is that boats are usually powered by two 12-volt batteries run in series, which will give you 24 volts of power. So you have one battery that acts as the engine battery and another one that acts as the house battery. So as I've been mentioning, you'll want to run everything we've gone over so far to your house battery. Now, because this is a multi-zone receiver, we have the ability to set up speakers in different areas around your boat or vessel and have separate volume controls for each zone. So I can set up speakers in the main area for one zone, I can have another zone of speakers set up to the inside, and I can set up another zone in the captain's area while they're navigating. So first, let's go over zones 1 and 2 that we can access through the wire harness here. These are actually high output speaker wires, so we can connect the speakers right to these wires. So the white wires here represent the left channel for zone 1, with the plain wire as the positive wire, and the one with the black stripe as our negative wire. Then we have the right channel for zone 1 with the gray wires here. Again, the plain wire is our positive, and the one with the black stripe is our negative. Then for zone 2, we have the green wires for our left channel. Again, the plain wire is the positive, and the one with the black stripe is the negative. Then we have the purple wires here, which acts as the right channel for zone 2, with the plain wire being the positive and the one with the black stripe being the negative. So to connect speakers to zones 1 and 2, I'm just going to need some speaker wire. I'm going to connect one end to the positive and negative wires of each zone. Then I'm going to connect the other end to the positive and negative wires of the speakers. We also have RCA outputs for zones 3 and 4. This way we can connect an external amplifier like this one here, so that we can add more speakers to our setup. So I can take an RCA cable and plug one end into zones 3 or 4. Then I can take the other end and plug it into the RCA inputs for a channel on my amplifier. We also have a dedicated mono RCA output for a subwoofer labeled zone 5. For this setup, we recommend using an RCA Y cable so you can connect the single end into zone 5 and the other ends into a channel on your amplifier. So like I said, I'll take the single RCA end and plug it into zone 5. Then I'll take the other end and plug it into the RCA inputs of the active sub or the RCA input of the amplifier that's powering the subwoofer. Now we also have a bunch of other RCA inputs and outputs, like this gray one here labeled Aux In. With this, we can take an RCA cable to connect any auxiliary or MP3 device. So we can take one end and plug it into the Aux In, then plug the other end into your aux device, or if you're using an RCA to aux cable, you can connect the aux end to your MP3 player. We even have the USB input so we can connect a USB drive to play music, movies, or look through pictures. Again, we have the extension cable so we won't have to reach around to the back to access the USB port. We also have an input for your antenna to strengthen the radio signal for your AM and FM radio. We also have the camera in so we can connect a backup cam and have the video shown through the display of your receiver as you're backing up your boat. You can also access the view of this camera by going into the camera settings and actively view what the camera is looking at all times. We also have a video input, which is more geared for DVD players or anything that can output video, which again can play through the display of your receiver, and you can also access this by setting the receiver to the aux input. We also have a video output so we can send the video throughout different screens on your boat. This will display anything coming through the receiver, whether it's the backup cam, the DVD player, or any picture or movie playing through the USB. This is also handy if you want to project things to a larger display. Lastly, we have this brown wire here that acts as the camera control. This will act as the trigger for your camera to turn on whenever you're reversing your boat. So when you're going to reverse your boat, this wire will get the voltage, letting your receiver know to show the backup cam, and as soon as you're not reversing, the display will go back to normal. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.